Moving on now. So this time we're looking at Scareclaw, it looks like. So we've got
Mm-hmm.
Scareclaw. Is that Lich? Light? How do I pronounce
Licked.
Licked? Okay, heart. And it's a Link 1, so that's always important. It's a Dark Monster Beast Warrior type. One Scareclaw monster and then one Visa Starfrost is the way that this would end up being linked off. If you link summon this card, the material must be in your main monster zone. You can only use the second effect of this card's name once per duel. If this card is link summoned to the extra monster zone, you can add one Liphobia, the Wanton, and Willful World of Desire from your deck to your hand. And if you control Visa's Starfrost, you can special summon this card from your graveyard. Well, that's always useful. And then we've got Scarclaw, or I'm sorry, Scareclaw Straddle. It's a quick play spell. You can only activate one card with this card's name per turn. Activate one of these effects. Target one Scareclaw monster or Visa Starfrost you control and one face-up monster your opponent controls. Your monster gains the attack and defense equal to that opponent's monster's attack and defense, whichever is higher. When a card or effect is activated that targets a Scare Claw monster and or Visa Starfrost you control, you get to negate that effect. Oh, that's really good, especially with it being a
Mm-hmm.
quick play. So, the goal is to definitely. Is there a way to search this grunt?
So I'm. Let me double check what the field search is. Uh, as far as I know, it's possible. I'm just double checking real quick all the Scareclaw stuff because it's been a hot minute since I
Uh
read
huh.
them. I was more. I actually looked up Scareclaws right after these got revealed, just because I wanted to double check a few things. So, to give you a little bit of an example, I don't think anything can search the spells
Oh,
specifically.
that
The
would have
nice
been
thing though is
so
that the
good.
I'll have to double check real quick.
Because
Let's see the special
if
summons
you
really
can
great.
search this, that becomes an extremely good card because then you have a way to do something very good and useful. Because it says you can only activate one card with this card's name per turn. Oh, you have to choose which effect you activate. Still, the
Okay,
idea
okay,
that I
okay.
can negate something. Oh, go ahead.
So I see how it works. So obviously, for all the memesters out there, Lictart is the link that searches the field spell here. It's a link one. It literally searches out the field spell that is also a searcher, and you're searching out. So the little thing here is that for whatever reason they went with some German words here. So Lichtheart means light heart in German.
Oh, okay.
Well, or Licht means light in German. Heart's heart. And then we have Reichhardt, which is a dark warrior monster. He's kind of the outlier for Scareclaws, and that means like I believe it's like ruling heart or empire heart or realm heart. It's dark. So how it works is you summon the link off of any of your Scareclaws. You search the field spell. You activate the field spell. You search Reichhardt. Reichhardt can special summon himself to an adjacent Scareclaw or in its column, like the link.
Uh huh.
And then you can search. Then with Reichhardt, you can search any Scareclaw spell or trap, so you can search the quick play with him.
Oh wow, interesting, super interesting. So that makes
Yeah,
this way
so it's
better
it's
that it can be
so
searched.
so it is a little chain. It is a little chain now. We have combo pieces in the deck, and I was saying this earlier. The deck was pretty darn affordable a couple weeks ago when the set released,
Yeah,
and now it's starting to go up a bit. The Link 3 I think is going up to like $6 now. He used to be $3. So
that's still
again,
affordable
maybe
by Yu-Gi-Oh prices.
it is.
Yeah.
It's still kind of a diet Crusadia that doubles as Baguska,
Uh
but
huh.
it's got some good stuff, and the quick play is nice. Again, you're able to
Yeah.
either make it stronger in battle like Honest, or if you want to protect it, you've got quick play response. It's not as
Yeah.
good as a counter trap, but it's also quick, so you can do it during your turn when you search it with
Absolutely.
Reichhardt, which is a nice way to get some protection. So it makes the deck better, that's for sure. I don't think it makes it competitive, but It
It
just makes it a
helps.
lot more.
Yep.
It makes it a lot more easy to search things out.
100%. 100%. Next card here, we've got Rikka Snow Princess. It's a level 4 water plant monster. You can only use the first and second effects of this card's name each once per turn. During your main phase, you can special summon this card from your hand, and if you do, you cannot special summon monsters while you control this monster, except for plant monsters. When your opponent activates a monster effect and you control a Rikka monster quick effect, you can shuffle this card from your hand or graveyard into the deck and tribute one plant monster, and then negate that effect. Then we've got Rikka Arrival. It's the field spell for the archetype. You can use the first effect of this card's name once per turn. If you control a Rikka monster, you can set one Rikka spell or trap directly from your deck to your spell and trap zone. Also, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of this turn, except for plant monsters. Once per turn, if you attribute a plant monster or monsters you control to activate a Rikka card's effect, you contribute one face-up monster your opponent controls instead of one of those
Yep.
monsters. Oh, good gosh. Okay, that is instantly good. The idea that I
Yes.
can tribute one of my opponent's monsters for an effect like this, and why I don't think they can really. I mean, how are they going to respond to that, Grunt? How is an opponent going to stop that? If the field
So
spell's already live.
technically, I'm actually double checking some of the Rikka stuff right now, but tributing for cost obviously comes to mind. So as long as a monster doesn't have some text like, "Oh, it can't be tributed." I know that Quintet Magician has that line, but there are a few cards where it's like, "Oh, tribute a plant, tribute a Rikka, whatever to do, whether you're special summoning or you're doing something on the field to extend or change levels,
Uh-huh.
or you could also just look at what's another example, Rikka Petal. Actually, no, does it have a tribute effect? Okay, it doesn't. Point is, quite a few of these cards do, not to mention the spells and traps, which gain extra effects when you tribute a plant monster.
Oh my gosh. So this is just amazing to me. So I'm picturing a scenario where I've got the field spell here, Rikka Arrival live. It's already on the field. It's already there. Um, if it's already there, how do you combat this? I mean, obviously, I'm thinking of like
Well,
Cosmic Cyclone, Twin Twister, but
Twin Twister.
if it's already on the field, can it be negated through a monster effect?
Um, not 100% sure how this works. I don't think this activates per se like Lair of Darkness. I think it replaces a condition. Obviously, if you're doing the search effect to set a spell or trap, you can definitely just yeah, literally that can be negated with Ash or something, I believe. But the second effect, if you're just tributing and replacing cost, I don't think that activates for Arrival. Kind of like how Lair of Darkness doesn't activate to tribute, but it does activate in the end phase. So
Wow, boy,
I don't know.
I can't
It's
wait to mess around
it's
with
hard
this.
to say. I've got pretty much the entire core minus the rank 8. So once the rank 8 gets a reprint, there's only a few of the Rikka stuff that really needs to be cheaper. But like to give you guys an example, a lot of the spells and traps have it where you can have the option to tribute a monster to gain an additional effect. So like their trap, for example, it normally just summons one of your Rikkas from the grave in defense. But if you also tribute a plant monster you control, you can do another plant monster that's more generic. So you can summon two monsters.
Wow.
So
Yeah, that's
this
good.
can turn this can give you an advantage. Rikka Sheet. Let's see. You can negate your opponent's effects for a turn, and then if you tributed a plant monster, you can also take control of your opponent's monster. So you can literally tribute one monster your opponent controls to take control of another one. It is a trap, but you can do double stealing, and then Rikka Glamour. You activate this by tributing you can tribute a plant, so you just get a free Rikka search.
That's
Or
awesome.
if you also tributed a monster, so it doesn't have to be a plant, just any monster, like the field spell.
That,
You
that
get to add another plant monster with the same level as that Rikka, but a different name. So you can turn your opponent's monsters into your own advantage,
Oh,
and that's not even going into the Xyz, that's not going into some of the
that's awesome.
monsters. It's, in my opinion, it doesn't make the deck busted because it makes them quite reliant on the field spell,
Yeah.
but it
Oh,
is
yeah.
going to make them a lot better.
But it's really interesting. I can't again. I can't wait to experiment. That's going to be fun to mess with. Then after that, we've got
Hmm.
some Vendread support here. So the first one is Scar. It's a
Hmm.
level 6 dark zombie. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. If this card is sent to the grave, you can add one Vendread spell or trap from your deck to your hand. Second effect, if a monster or monsters on the field is tributed while this card is in your graveyard, you can banish one other zombie monster from your graveyard, special summon this card, and if you do, you cannot special summon monsters while you're. Wait. You cannot special summon monsters while you control this monster except for Vendread monsters. Oh, I don't like that. Kind of locks you in. Then we've got
Yeah.
Vendread Scarvenger, and it's a level 8 dark zombie ritual monster. You can ritual summon this card with any Vendread ritual spell. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. During the main phase quick effect, you contribute one zombie monster. This card gains attack equal to the tributed monster's original attack until the end of this turn. If you control Vendread Slayer and this card is in your graveyard, you can special summon this card, but banish it when it leaves the field. Eh, it seems okay to me, Grunt. It doesn't
Yeah.
seem awesome.
Ritual. Okay. So the ritual is hot garbage. We all know that Vendreads are notorious for having great swarming to some degree, having decent effects they grant to their rituals, but at the same time, most of their rituals are hot garbage.
Yeah.
So I'm not too surprised that the ritual sucks. I think that Scar Vendread is better than most people would think, just because even if it locks you into Vendreads, there is the generic Vendread link that's pretty good for zombie decks.
Uh huh.
So at least Scar Vendread gives you free material for that.
Yeah. Which that's at least something, but like Diablos is saying, I want the deck to be better. And unfortunately, I just don't think it's there. And it would have been nice to get something that really gave it a nice punch forward. And
Oh, trust me, I was hooked on this deck from the day I saw the first set of support, and then
huh.
I kept seeing Konami dropping the ball over and over again. So it's, trust me, I also get the frustration. I do like what it does for the deck. I have seen it. Vendreads are technically better with the support. It's just they still don't have the oomph they need to compete with the current meta.
I agree. I agree. Okay, moving on, we do have the spell here. So it's Ravenous Vendread. This card can be used to ritual summon any Vendread ritual monster. You can only activate one card with this card's name once per turn. Special summon one Vendread monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard in defense, face up defense position, except for Vendread Scavenger. Then ritual summon one Vendread ritual monster from your hand or graveyard by attributing monsters whose total levels equal or exceed the level of the ritual monsters you ritual summon, including the summoned monster. I mean, it's good because it gets a card out from the deck. You know that's a good thing. But
Hmm.
yeah, it just needs more. Then we have Hydralander Orbit. It's a level 1 Dark Machine monster. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. If you have four more monsters in your graveyard and no monsters in your graveyard with the same name, ooh, that could be tricky. You can tribute this card. Excavate cards from the top of your deck equal to the number of monsters in your graveyard, and if you excavate two or more monsters and no monsters with the same name, you can add one of them to your hand. Also, place the rest of the top of the deck in any order. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one monster in your graveyard, place it on the bottom of your deck. Oh. Now, for those of you who don't know, there's a level 8 that's got the same
Yep.
kind of stuff going on, right? Where you can't have any cards with the same name. You can special summon it, send three to the grave to destroy stuff. This is the same archetype, right, Grunt? Is that the same
Not
type of
yeah. It
card?
literally is a reference to Orbital Hydrolander.
Yes, yes. So,
That's why I
well,
included it. I just thought it was a nice little thing to include here because
it,
it
it
does
it's
have some niche uses in
well, that's
some
what I'd like to
decks.
go over because I'm looking at this going, oh, this looks like garbage to me. Okay, so go ahead and share. What are these niche uses that you see?
Well, I mean, Orbital Hydrolander has worked in some Highlander-esque decks before, which, for those of you who don't know the term Highlander, Highlander is essentially the concept of having a deck full of individual cards that don't share names with each other. So, having a hero deck, for example, would be Highlander if you didn't have more than one copy of a single card. Hydrolander Orbit works in the sense that it only has to be monsters, so you could run multiple spell traps. I don't know. It's not
It's
busted, but
tricky.
there were Hydrolander decks out there that were Highlander-ish or running things like
Yeah.
Burning Abyss,
Sure. Yeah.
Lightsworn, obviously with a ton of mills. So it's not going to be meta or anything, but I just thought it would be kind of bad not to put this guy here for a
Well,
reference to the original Hydrolander.
so
But
for the Hydrolander stuff that I've seen in the past, specifically the level 8, I've seen it used in Dark World decks. I have seen it
mhm.
used in Danger. I've also seen. Um, oh, nope. Yeah, that's about it. I did see a player try to use. I'm losing the name, Lightsworns, but it was very tricky. And so there are uses for that card, but Ooh, it's just so situational, almost too luck based for me.
I
Uh,
will say real
Go
quick
ahead.
though that because we're kind of overlooking the actual good card here. I understand it lists Scavenger by name, and it's like, okay, who cares? It's a shitty ritual. Well, it still has a pretty good effect.
Oh yeah,
The fact is that being able to special summon a Vendread from anywhere
from the
except your
deck.
banish zone, and then
Yeah,
ritual summoning any ritual from your hand or graveyard by tributing monsters. I mean, the big ticket here is that any ritual monster summoned using any of the main deck Vendreads, except for Scar. Scar, for some reason, doesn't grant any rituals effects. But Revenants, Hound Horde, Striges, Core, Anima all have these effects. So, like, Core can make any ritual monster that's summoned with it untargetable. Striges can make it where you draw and discard, or you have quick effects to banish monsters or spells. So, at least the spell makes it more accessible with those effects. I
yeah.
don't think it makes Vendread best busted, but this is kind of the type of ritual spell they should have had in the first place.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And it's a very good card, no doubt about it, but it's not the punch, the big punch that I feel that really extends the deck the way that it needs to. And I like what Diablos had mentioned
Yeah.
earlier, going back to Scar here. It would have been nice if that card just said you were locked into zombie monsters, not Vendread monsters. That would have seen definite more use than I feel if you're trying to use the other zombie monsters that help extend zombies the way that they do. Moving on here, we've got Elrion. It's a level 1 wind machine monster. This card is always treated as a Sky Striker card. Oh, interesting. You can only use either of this card's first or third effects once per turn and only once that turn. Oh, I wish all cards said that. Okay, so during the main phase, quick effect, you can target one Sky Striker Ace monster you control, equip this card from your hand or field to that target. 2, a Sky Striker Ace monster equipped with this card will gain 400 attack. And then 3, if this card on the field is destroyed, you can send one Sky Striker spell from your deck to the graveyard. Ooh, it'd be better if it said it was linked. Like if it left the
Yep.
field. The next one is Amaze Attraction Thrill Train. I was just thinking of Amazements. I was hoping they were getting more support. You can only use the second effect of this card's name once per turn. Target one Amazement monster you control, or one face-up monster your opponent controls. Equip this card to it. You can activate the following effect based on which player controls the equipped monster. If it's you, change the battle position of the equipped monster, and if you do, Your opponent chooses an attraction trap in your graveyard, set that card on your field. If it's your opponent, banish the equipped monster until the end of until the end phase. Okay, so like I said, I think Elrion would be much better if it's linked off.
Mm-hmm.
You get to send one from the deck to the grave because we know Sky Strikers want to load up the graveyard as soon as possible with spells. That would have been
Mm-hmm.
good. So I think that's weak in that way. And Thrill Train's interesting. I mean, the idea that your opponent can banish their equipped monster if they want to. I mean, there's definite uses there. I don't know. What are your thoughts there, Grunt?
I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of Sky Striker as is, so I'm not really gonna throw much out there. All I know is that Sky Striker players looked at this card and they're just like, "Oh, that's nice." Anyway, because it doesn't do much. It has the equip effect, and then you're able to have your Sky Striker Ace gain 400 attack. Oh, okay, 400 attack, and then it has to be destroyed, which
Yeah, that really
I don't
hurts.
know. There's some niche uses, I'm sure, but Sky Striker already does so well, and pitching one Sky Striker spell doesn't really
Yeah,
matter because you can always search at the end phase with Shizuku. Like, the idea here is, okay, Aileron's destroyed, I'm gonna pitch my one of engage, and then have Kagari return my engage, but I
yeah.
just feel like people would
Well,
rather
you
search
could use
engage to get more
Afterburner,
uses out of
right?
it.
Doesn't Afterburner destroy a
You're,
card? But you'd have to search it, then you'd have to do that. I don't know. It just it's very
you're jumping through
situational.
hoops. You're jumping through hoops at that point. I
Yes.
know that I don't think this is gonna really. Maybe this would be a tech choice at best. It's not gonna make or break Sky Striker though.
Ooh,
They've
now
already
this
got
is
enough good
interesting.
cards.
So Diablos just brought this up. I didn't think about this. If Elrion is equipped and the Sky Striker monster it's equipped to is linked away, then it gets technically destroyed. I did not think about that. So that's a better use then. But again, how do you get this out here? You know what I mean? Like there,
I mean,
you'd have to use like
well, it's
one for
always
one or
treated as a
something.
Sky Striker, but if you're running multiples of this, it's a potential brick. It has to be equipped. I just feel like
Well, and you can do
it
it
gets
from the
it
hand
does
though.
something.
Yeah, like no wait. So now this is
Yeah,
starting to look a little better. But you'd have to have ace in the hand or ace on the field to make this work. And then you'd have to have it in the hand. Oh man, yeah, I don't know. Still a lot of setup.
it's still a lot of setup, and the deck. I don't think the deck has much. I mean, I shouldn't say it doesn't have space for it. It could make room. It's just the deck runs so well right now. I don't
Hmm.
think running this is going to make a huge impact. Like, the deck already has ways to pitch. It already has ways to recur,
Yeah.
and it's cute. Like, the little reference in the manga it came from is cute, but it's I don't know. I don't think it's really necessary. I guess that's kind of what the general vibe on this is. It's fine. It's just not good. It's not broken. And I'm not complaining. I don't need it to be broken for Striker.
Oh, Striker
But
already is so solid by itself. Yeah. Great point. But it does give players something to experiment with. Maybe there will be something out there that someone comes up with that, really makes it work. What about the trap, though? What you feeling about the trap?
it's another utility piece. You're able to banish an opponent's monster until the end phase, which there are some monsters that really would not like that.
Oh, yeah.
Um, they lose their effects from being summoned with certain materials. They lose attack gains.
Mm-hmm.
They
Yep.
lose counters. It's a niche example. Or with links, you're able to disrupt their link arrows. So it's got some niche uses there. It's not going to be crazy busted, but like any other amazement trap, you may as well run at least one or two with how searchable it is and the utility it offers. Being able to recur your other attraction traps is also pretty cool. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.